We are live and Nolan's sitting there looking at you.
Sup?
What's up? What's up?
Kid.
You're probably wondering, what in the hell could we possibly talk about right now about fantasy football? But there's lots to talk about. Did we get shared up? Or is it coming up?
Share to a page.
Share to a group. I can jump on the PC real quick.
There we go. I got it.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, like I said, there's a lot to talk about actually. But sitting here with Nolan Howard, already missing fantasy before it even really ends because we're playing postseason leagues.
Exactly.
Which we did pretty good in that so far.
Yeah. We're first and second in the NFL.
No.
.com one.
Oh, in the NFL.com?
Yeah.
Oh.
Of those, I don't know, there's like 12 people in there.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other one, MFL one. I think we're like 4th and 5th in that one, though.
Yeah, we are 4th and 5th.
And there's 40 teams in that one. So, I mean, just saying, we don't know nothing. But want to lead the show like we always do with shit show. And seriously, the most recent shit show is Miami against Pittsburgh. Yeah, that was an absolute shit show.
Dude, I had some high hopes for Miami. I mean, I really did. They've been averaging like 30 points a game on them. And then it was a shit show.
Dude, Matt Moore got nearly killed.
Oh, I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
I was looking around on Facebook and stuff because the game was garbage, and it was like all of them had like these memes that were like "Rest in peace,
yeah,
Matt Moore." It was hilarious.
Man, I mean, he just got upended, and then 2 plays later, he's back in the game, and like a boss. That was crazy.
Yeah, I gotta give him props for that.
Yeah.
But Pittsburgh looked good, man.
They did. And
looked hungry.
Miami defense played horrible. And
they did.
I mean, Lev Bell just lit them up like he usually does.
And AB did too.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
2 TDs.
It was a pretty good start. It was the first time that all 3 of them played in a playoff game together. So now you see what they can do. I mean, we could potentially see Pittsburgh, Dallas.
Potentially, yes.
Could potentially see it. I'm just saying.
Hey,
just throwing it out there.
I'd love it.
I mean, everybody's just like, Tom Brady's a shoe-in, but
I don't want to see Lev Bell in the playoffs. I know that.
I don't either. Our run D is a lot better than Miami, so
it is. But I mean,
still.
And we played Lev Bell during the season. But
we beat that team. I mean, it was by the hair of our chinny chin chin, and there was like trick plays and a bunch of BS, but.
Man, no doubt, but I'll say this. I don't think it's the same Pittsburgh team we played earlier, just like Green Bay's not the same Green Bay team that we played earlier. Yeah. But I think we beat both of them.
The other shit show was Oakland without Carr, and it's such a shame.
That was a great football team.
They were playing lights out, and Carr going down. Just, I mean, they couldn't advance the ball, and Amari Cooper was kind of on a decline even with Carr, but yeah, it was rough. So
man, and Crabtree kind of bowed out. It was a bad deal, but Oakland has a bright future next year. It was a shit show in the playoffs, but they've got a bright future next year. They're good. They need to learn.
They're young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give Lat Murray the rock, though. Quit with us all this other crap. Just give him the ball.
Oh, they have to re-sign him.
Well, that's true.
So we're going to get into that tonight. So what we had to talk about is coaching changes that are huge. A few of the draft prospects. I haven't dove too terribly deep into it, but looked a little bit. And then free agents, big name free agents. And then wanted to talk about our top 25.
Yeah.
It mine might not be the same as yours, but I figured we'd kind of go back and forth and throw a few players out there.
It's good. I've already seen one thing I would personally change.
I know. That's why. I gotta send it over to you and let you look at it and scheme on it.
I went off of yours to make mine, and really, I mean, there's very few differences, but the main one is I've just got ODB a little higher.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they'll have a better year next year, but ODB still went for almost 1,500 and over 100 catches. So
yeah, I mean, he came through.
It was okay, but that was the only. I mean, anyway, we'll get there.
And then we'll talk a little bit about the upcoming games this weekend. So, coaching changes, crazy. I mean, really, last year there was a lot, but it seems like this year there's a few, and it's all crap teams that kind of needed changes. But
for sure.
But starting with the first Los Angeles team, now that there's going to be two, it'll be like when we abbreviate, it's going to be LAR and LAC.
Man, I hate that. I mean, they should have just stayed in San Diego.
I know. They had a great fan base. It just proves that money is above all else in the NFL.
It is. But, I mean, dude, LA didn't even want them there. Like,
no.
The people.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Clippers-Lakers situation. Yeah. Is there two baseball teams there, too?
No, I don't think so.
Where do the Angels play?
There.
Where do the Dodgers play?
And both, yeah.
See, I don't know shit about baseball, and I
pulled
that out, didn't I? Oh, you're proud of me, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think the Angels went to Anaheim is the reason I said that, but basically it's right there.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Well, so Sean McVay, youngest coach in NFL history, 30. I mean, he's like a decade and a half younger than you.
That's well played. That's well played.
I'm just kidding.
That's fitting.
I gotta take that shot. I mean, it's the only shot that I ever get.
Dude, that made me about 4 to 5 years old.
No, I'm kidding.
But I'm not too far off.
No.
Hey, man, I like this. I like this coaching change.
I do too.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The Rams are a shit show. I mean, they need to be up on bullet point 1, but. Get somebody in there that's not stale. I felt like Fisher was maybe a little stale.
Yeah.
And, and he made some bad moves. I mean, when you start giving, like, wide receiver 1 money to Austin.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of a very bad move.
Bad deal.
I get it. He's probably like your buddy in the locker room, and you're trying to hook him up. But that's the only thing I could think of.
Really cool guy. And then, he has a guy with 2 broke knees that outplays him all year. And it's like, man.
Yeah, it's
But I think they needed that.
But yeah, they they haven't had a good quarterback since Kurt Warner.
Right.
And after Kurt Warner, they pounded it with Steven Jackson. And then they drafted Todd Gurley with the same idea. They're just going to pound it with the running back. Neither one of those approaches for them got them anywhere close to a championship, let alone even playoffs.
Yeah.
So surely with the offensive coach, and Fisher was even, I mean, I get it, he was a defensive player, but he was like a special teams player, really.
That's what he was.
It wasn't really anything more.
And I'm not saying that you can't be a good coach if you're a special teamer, but
I mean, you don't even have to have had any experience playing.
No, you could be. But I mean,
come on,
Fisher. Oh man, yeah. I mean, he botched that whole thing up.
He did. But so he came over. He was the offensive coordinator for Washington. His first job in the NFL was the Tampa Bay wide receiver coach. So maybe they'll get a little wide receiver action. Maybe they'll, who knows? Maybe at least draw up some plays where there's wide receivers running outs and ends and curls and Your number one wide receiver play is not just like a pitch back or a bubble screen.
I mean, that's what it's been. But I think their quarterback play will get better over the next couple of years. They got a young guy.
Yeah.
Gurley. I know he had a bad year, but I still think he's legit. He's just not like.
He's not 8 in the box legit. He's 6 in the box legit.
He's 6 in the box legit, which means that they better get some wide receivers in the draft.
Yeah. The next coaching change, and this is no order, but the next one on our list was Sean McDermott for Buffalo. He was the defensive coach for Carolina.
Yep.
And I think that when Carolina was really a force before some of the injuries and moves that they made, he was doing big things. So, but I really don't think that another defensive coach is a move for the Bills.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of good offensive pieces, and it hadn't been put together yet. I'm not sure Tyrod's the guy. Maybe they'll be in the Tony Romo sweepstakes.
Tyrod, EJ, Cardell, all the same quarterback to me.
And all okay, so from a fantasy standpoint, they're okay. From an NFL standpoint, garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, so
they're the RG3s of not the year that RG3 went off.
Right. But basically, I mean, all they do is run and throw picks. I mean, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot to work with on that defense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm gonna be scared of that next year.
That defense, I was thinking that they were going to do a lot bigger things on defense this year, but it's a young defense. They've got a lot of pieces to the puzzle, mm-hmm. so they could potentially do big things. The next one on the list is Vance Joseph, which he was the Miami defensive coordinator going to Denver. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like there's anything wrong with a defensive coach at Denver.
No, I don't either. But with that being said, they're not all that different from Buffalo, right. In that they just need some offensive help. Really, they're a quarterback away from being really good.
Yeah, and I think that you could probably develop Simeon. I really do. I mean, I don't think he's anything that's going to be phenomenal, but I mean, you could win a few games with Simeon if just got him, a few more steps further down.
A few more steps, or a year. And I'm gonna say this a bunch tonight, but a year behind Romo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just telling you.
There's a lot of teams, man.
If Romo goes to Denver and, they got a good, defensive-minded group, if Romo goes over there with Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, I mean, it's like, miss playoffs to Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, come get some. Of course, he has to stay healthy. But
yeah. I mean, you're right. There's a lot of potential. How about, and this is another potential team, like if they were smart, I guess, but they're going to stick with Blakey B and Doug. Is it Maroney or
Marone? I think.
Marone.
Yeah.
Really, it's Tom Coughlin with little puppet strings because the executive vice president of football operations is a long way to say that dude wearing the headset is my bitch.
Dude.
And I'm not going to take any heat. I'm not taking any heat. If something goes wrong, it's going to be that guy, and then we'll bring in the next sucker.
Oh, yeah. John Elway. I mean, it's the same deal. But, man, here's the deal. I was listening to a fantasy radio today, and they were talking about this move, and they were like, Tom Coughlin is probably a good move. I thought he did a pretty good job in New York. I mean,
I hate his face. But
I hate his face too
because he figured out ways to beat Dallas, so that's why I really hated him the most.
But he kept a locker room, all that kind of stuff, and they went around looking for head coaches that liked Blake Bortles, and Doug Marone was the only one.
Really, I mean, it was probably a very short list per se. He believes in Bortles, and I was thinking about that earlier today. That is the best T-shirt for a Jacksonville fan, believe in Bortles. Because it's got to be. It's like a knock-knock joke almost. I mean, it's to believe in.
So it's not like the offensive line's bad over there. It's not like they don't have skill positions. It's like
they have everything. It's just him.
Blake just threw it bad this year.
He did.
I mean, I expected him to be great.
He couldn't get it out the dirt, dude.
It was really bad. But I'll tell you, from a fantasy standpoint, he still was startable. I mean, he took me to 2 title games.
It was just hard to watch the games if you had him. You just had to.
He might be.
You almost had to read it. You almost had to read it in the paper the next day. You couldn't even handle the updates on your phone.
How many Sundays did I sit over here and go, Blake's got -4 in the first quarter? That's awesome.
I mean, it would take him 2 quarters to even get out of the cart.
And then he'd throw 3 touchdowns and rush for 1 in the second half, and you're like, oh, he scored 22. Nice.
Yeah, unbelievable. And that defense is really good. It's going to
get better.
The pass D is really good. They're getting better on the run D. But yeah, that's going to be a defense. That could be a sleeper D next year.
Jalen Ramsey's the truth.
He is.
He's the truth.
You still think we should have taken him over Zeke?
Yes, I do.
No.
I think Zeke's great. Don't get it twisted. Zeke is awesome. But I think I would be awesome behind that offensive line.
Yeah, but no, I mean,
not really.
He'd be eating, dude. He'd be eating.
Huh?
He'd be eating.
I'd be rushing for 10 yards doing this number.
Yeah. The next move, Anthony Lynn taking over for the LAC, the Chargers, but I really think that this is huge because
it needed to happen for once.
So, if you guys remember, this is the guy that when Rex Ryan let go of the offensive coordinator in Buffalo, he stepped in. And the first 2 games where the other guy was the OC, you were thinking, damn, I drafted Shady and it's not going to work. He's not doing anything. This is awful. And you might have even lost your first 2 games. And then this guy got in there, and it was just feed the pellet to the running back. Mm-hmm. So I was already feeling pretty good about Melvin Gordon next year.
Yeah, this makes him.
And now I am like, I've got him in 1 league. I'm keeping him.
And, and Woodhead's a free agent, I believe.
He is.
And, that was what everybody's worried about, him losing the third down work. But, man, I stand corrected. Melvin I kept on going, man, he's not good. He's not good.
It took like 7 games for you to believe. Maybe even 8.
It was like 7 or 8 games. I mean, I traded him after 3.
Yeah.
And felt like I traded high. And then he put it into it. I mean, it wasn't like he was averaging 1.3 a carry, but he got 25 carries and then got in the end zone twice. Like, towards the end of the season, I mean, he was rushing for 100 yards.
Yeah.
And the 2 touchdowns, and then getting 40 yards receiving. I mean, he was elite.
Yeah, he was doing. He was killing it. So that's a great coaching move on the running back front.
I agree. Hey, have you heard that Colin Kaepernick's going to be the head coach in San Francisco?
No, I have not.
Yeah, that's the only way he gets to keep his job. So.
Really?
Yeah.
You're jacking with me? Okay. I was like, wait. My next bullet point was no moves yet in San Francisco.
No. Like, you know why? Because they're historically shit.
They are. I mean, as soon as Joe Montana and J.A.R.V.I.S left the building, it was all
shit.
It was all shit.
They made one.
They made one good push.
With Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Alex Smith or was it Cap?
I think it was Alex Smith. The next year, Kaepernick played and did good.
Yeah,
their defense was stupid.
Yeah. Patrick Willis.
Patrick Willis and Bowman.
He was eating children.
Who's that defensive lineman? I think it was another Smith.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I think they're all in jail.
Alden Smith.
Yeah, I think he's in jail.
Yeah, he should be probably.
So those are the coaching moves that you should pay attention to, and you didn't have to do any of that research. That's why you tuned in. Draft prospects. So, like I said, I haven't dove completely into this, but I've looked plenty, and I just want to go through each position, and at the quarterback, so there's 2 quarterbacks that have similar names, and you can get them twisted, and one of them's Deshaun and one of them's Deshaun. So get ready for that confusion.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess that up. Yeah, I'm not great with names.
Deshaun, it's like everybody calls Devonta Freeman Devontae.
I do. That's me.
Everybody
I do.
It drives me insane. His name is Devonta.
It's Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
And Devonta Freeman.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, he could run and throw. Good fits for him would be like San Francisco, Buffalo, the Jets. Then Deshaun. Oh, that was Deshaun Watson, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. Just compared to
national title winner, by the way.
Yeah. There you go. Deshaun Kaiser is the other Dush guy, and he's taller in the pocket, and but he can move. I think that it'd be a good fit for the Jets.
Yeah, no
Jets
doubt.
definitely need quarterback this year.
Yeah, he'll end up in Cleveland.
Probably. I mean, they need like 6 more.
Yeah.
I mean, use your first 3 draft picks on quarterbacks that won't pan out. That's what they should do.
Hey, you might as well.
And then my boy, Pat Mahomes.
Dude, me too.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no doubt. I mean, he's a hometown boy. I mean, but this kid is legit.
He's got a cannon. He's not gonna screw around anymore in college. He's gonna go straight. Yeah, I mean, he's just like I'm going to the pros. And
I actually knew that about almost a month before he announced.
Nolan has the inside scoop.
He's legitimate, guys.
He did his college homework for him while he was there from here in Tyler.
No, this kid's a 4.0. He's got a great football IQ. You know, it's really his second sport, but he fell in love with football and the atmosphere and everything. Mm-hmm. So, you know, Patrick, I mean, he's basically learned on the fly. Yeah. And excelled at every level. I mean, not like just
it's just
played
raw
good.
Talent, man.
Dude, and you're talking about a cannon?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a YouTube video out there of him on his knees at the 50 throwing it into a trash can in the end zone from his knees.
Yeah. He's it's talent. I haven't seen that, but I'm gonna need to.
Dude, we'll look it up after the show, but it's legitimate. He's my boy, and you know,
I think a really good fit for him would be Buffalo. If they wanted to get somebody who could actually throw the ball, then I think he would do.
He could be good there. You know, he's going to fit in a lot of places.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. There's a few that are looking, and Mitch Trubisky. He's got great accuracy, quick release, and that's something that the Jets definitely need.
Did you say Chad Pennington or did you say Mitch?
No, I said Mitch, but I probably didn't pronounce his last name.
No, I was just saying it sounds like Chad Pennington. Yeah. Quick release, accurate. You know,
he's going to be.
He doesn't have a noodle arm like Pennington
in the pocket.
Yeah,
but so for the running backs, Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
He reminds me a lot of Jamal Mall.
Mm-hmm.
He's very he doesn't cut. Like, I was watching a lot of the highlights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't cut. Like, he's just get that gap and just hit the burners. That's his deal.
Yeah, CJ2K type.
Yeah. That's exactly right. He probably reminds me more of CJ2K than he does Jamal now that I'm looking at it.
But they're pretty much the same guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not making crazy moves. They just got.
Yeah, he's a pretty good receiver as well. Then Leonard Fournette, he's a bruiser, dude. That dude is big.
Dude. I love this because you said he'd fit good in Carolina. And he's exactly what they need.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. He would fit very good in Carolina. He reminds me a lot of Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, and Steven Jackson.
Dude,
he's just a big, downhill, knock you over.
He takes those baby steps like them too.
Yeah.
S. Jax always took those baby steps.
Go back and look later on. Look at Green Ellis.
They take those baby steps
and put them up to each other.
Dude, that reminds
me of
236.
Yeah, he's a
big boy.
He's a big dude. And Artist Payne sucks, so they're not gonna. I think Carolina will go for it. Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
Yeah, I got that one right. If this is a great analogy, if Wes Welker was a running back, that's this guy to me.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah. I mean, he's gonna be legit.
And not just because he's white. But a lot to do with that. I don't know why, but yeah, that's Wes Welker was.
Oh yeah,
he was Speedy McSpeederston.
Mm-hmm. He reminds me of like a Deion Lewis or a James White type guy that's going to catch balls.
Coach Atwood, my middle school football coach, would have called him Skeeter. That was his great nickname for little quick white people. Skeeter. So anyway, if anybody remembers Coach Atwood, he looked at you with the glasses on the end of the nose, chomping that gun like Pete Carroll. Big up, Atwood, big up. Here's one. Donta? Is this Donta?
Yeah.
Donta Foreman. So, Donta. If Eddie Lacy had a little brother, it would be Donta.
It's the dreads. It's to
do with
the dreads.
He's big, dude.
He is a big guy.
He's big. And hook 'em for all you hook 'emers. I'm guns up for me, but Texas boy.
Hey, I'm good with it.
He's big, dude.
I'm good with
He's big, dude. I mean, he's gonna be a. Hopefully, he won't be Eddie Lacy, but like LeGarrette Blount, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good. He just won the Tyler Rose Award. Earl Campbell does that every year.
Oh yeah.
And like Patrick Mahomes was in the running, and
you know more stuff about these college kids than you come out to say.
I did a little bit. I mean, I googled them.
It's worth a Google. It's worth a Google. I mean, Google. If we didn't have Google, we wouldn't have anything.
I couldn't do anything in life if I didn't have Google.
Curtis Samuel. He could be molded into a supplemental back. I don't think that he'd have a solid RB1, but quick, he can catch, kind of like it's like a Gio Bernard type deal with this kid.
I think like you. I mean, when we were doing the outline, or when you did the outline, I looked over it, and I kind of see him as a threat from kick and punt returns.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's got moves, and I think he'll end up going from like that job and being electric, and they go, man, we got to get this guy the ball more.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like that deal.
Yeah.
Which could be good.
So for the wide receivers, there's always a lot of wide receivers, and you never know with this because there's a lot of second, third, fourth round people that come in as receivers and they don't develop for 2 years, 3 years, and then they come out and you're like, where did that guy? Where was he at the draft? What number did he go? But there's a few. Corey Davis, he's got some speed, solid route runner. Reminds me a little bit. I like to throw out the comparison to another player because it gives you somebody to think about whenever you're picturing this person when you're drafting. But he reminds me a lot of Demaryius Thomas. So
that's a big compliment. But I agree. Yeah. They're very similar.
Yeah.
I might say that Corey's got better hands than Demaryius.
Maybe so. Mike Williams. #playmaker is what I put on my outline because everything I looked at, it was like the one-handed, the over the cornerback catches, all of this stuff. It's just he looks like a Odell type playmaker. I'm not gonna jock him like that, but
depending on where he goes, he could be a legit draft pick next year.
Yeah.
Unlike Kevin White, not Kevin White.
Yeah. If Philly doesn't get him, then they're stupid because they need more receiver help than anything, and Jordan Matthews ain't it.
No, he ain't it.
He's complimentary to me. I think he needs to be a number 2.
Yeah, I think so too. And their quarterback will get a little better next year, hopefully. Their running game. I mean, don't get it twisted. It was decent this year, but when Darren Sproles is toting your rock,
yeah.
I mean, maybe you ought to make some moves.
I don't think Wendell Smallwood is the answer either.
No, he's the same. He's Sproles 2.0. And, and Ryan Matthews.
They're in trouble everywhere because of Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, he just cut everybody loose and was like, here, let's see if we can play with doo-doo butter on a stick.
Dude, literally. I mean, he got rid of everybody. But I'm with you. I mean, I think they got to go look at going with a wide receiver.
Because there's, I don't think the better running backs are going to make it to, I think they're going to be like 18th or something like that.
They need to get a mid-round diamond running back, diamond in the rough guy, and try to make it through half a year and get him into the offense type deal.
John Ross is next on my list. He's a smaller guy. Speed reminds me of Golden Tate. I knew you would like that, but he does. San Francisco has a lot of things to address. Receiver is one of them.
Name? I mean, I know we can, but
no. I mean,
it's hard to name a receiver.
I don't know how many. Before we even get into it, I can tell you, Jeremy Curley's a free agent. Quentin Patton's a free agent. Torrey Smith will probably be there again, but you can do it on your team type deal. He ain't gonna get any better.
Let me tell you something. If you put them all in a brown paper bag, you lit it on fire, and you put it on somebody's porch,
they wouldn't even stomp it out.
They would have shit on the bottom of their shoe.
They would just let it burn. I mean, they'd be like, it ain't even worth stomping.
It's so bad.
I mean, yeah, that's a dumpster fire.
It really is.
And they don't even have a coach. It's just like, God, it's a dumpster fire. But at least they let go of two of the people that are just throwing kerosene in it.
But Los is legit. Carlos Hyde's legit. I cannot believe it. He's good. He's injury prone as shit.
Yeah, I mean,
but he's good.
That's the problem.
He's injury prone.
It's always been the problem. That was the problem last year. I mean, I'll give him credit all day long, but I told everybody, I was like, you're gonna have him 4 games.
4 games.
He's my friend.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I wouldn't draft him for nothing. I mean, that's how I feel about Carlos. So the next one, this is great. I mean, I just hope that he makes a team and he becomes somebody so I can say his name all the time. Juju Smith-Schuster. It's like the law firm from like
Juju. It's like the best kind of Destiny.
It's like the voodoo law firm. I mean, before he even takes the field, he's hexing the cornerback.
Oh, dude.
Just by the announcement. Chris Collinsworth, it's like Juju. And it's like that cornerback, I mean, he's not stopping anybody tonight. He's probably going to break his ankle because he just got the Juju.
He just got the Juju today. But, I think he's going to be a pretty good guy. I mean, he's kind of like, to me, he's like a 6'2" version of Emmitt Smith. Mm. He's not fast. I mean, he's got plenty of speed, but he's not fast. He's quick.
Yeah.
And he's pretty strong.
He's got a lot of the stuff that I watched was just like the football moves that he makes. Mm-hmm. Like he'd catch it in the middle of the field or on the outside, and he'd look for contact like a running back. Mm-hmm. And I like that. It's like Steve Smith, really.
Ooh.
But yeah. Then Cooper Kupp. He reminds... dude, I hope this isn't another just because he's a white guy analogy. But he does. He reminds me of Adam Thielen. I mean, he's like a middle of the field guy. I mean... damn it.
It's good.
But he is. I mean, it reminds me. It's like
he's Ed McCaffrey.
It's like
name all the white receivers.
It's like
he reminds me of Cole Beasley.
There you go. It's like those guys just go to the middle of the field, and it's just like there's a lot of teams that are looking for that too.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, every team wants a little white dude that runs in the middle of the field. Quick slant. I mean,
everybody's got them. I mean, Wes Welker.
The Z spot. It's just like that. There's 9 plays, and those are the plays that go to him, and they're all 10 yards, 15 yards.
And typically they're on one of a safety, a linebacker, or a really bad corner.
Right.
Which is the only...
And 3 receiver set. Yeah. I mean, it's just...
I mean, if a white guy's playing on the outside, he's not catching any balls.
No.
He's got to play out of the seat. I mean, let's just be honest with that.
I'm sorry.
He needs to play on a linebacker.
Oh man, that's hilarious. But the last receiver on my little list here is Josh Reynolds, and he's way on down the draft board list, but I think he's kind of my sleeper in the NFL wise, not sleeper fantasy wise. I mean, it'll take a while to develop, like I said, but yeah, I mean, he's big. You know, it's like there's not very many big receivers like Calvin Johnson receivers anymore. You know.
Yeah.
You can't really name anybody like that.
I mean, you know, the closest guy to it right now is Julio, and
Julio. There you go.
And he's not. You know, he's not Calvin Johnson big.
No, but yeah, that's a big receiver.
Wasn't Calvin Johnson like 6'6"?
Yeah, he was huge. This guy isn't that, but he's like 6'4".
Yeah,
I mean, you know, he's a big dude. On the tight end front, O.J. Howard, he's just a really big dude. I mean, big. I'm not sure how he blocks. He's got good hands and awareness.
Mm-hmm.
The next guy, Jake Butt. That's a white dude name while we're on white dudes.
Jake Butt.
But 6'6", 250, he reminds me of Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Is it because they're both white, Chad?
Absolutely not. Okay. It's just the way they're built. It really is.
He's one of the top 2 or 3 on everybody's board.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a tight end that can catch the ball, I mean, I really do see him like that. Like he could be like a Greg Olsen type.
Greg Olsen, Jay Witt, you know, that kind of dude. He's faster than
Antonio Gates, just to keep it diverse.
Charles Clark.
Evan Ingram. He's not as big as the other guys, but he reminds me a lot of Jordan Reed or even a Tony Gonzo.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I mean, you can't really make these wild. It's just the way that they play, and you gotta look at it like they're playing against a bunch of college kids. So it's like, who knows? In the NFL, they might get lit once and just be like,
be done. But this kid, you know, he's like a Delaney Walker-ish guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's like really good hands, but he's not 6'6".
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. He's Jordan Reed, man. I'm telling you.
Jordan Reed.
That's kind of what I was thinking whenever I looked at it. So that's the draft prospect front. I'm just going to run down these free agents, and it's kind of crazy, but these are just the ones of note. Lev Bell, which I
holy knockers.
Yeah, I think that they're going to have to re-sign him.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. It'll probably get done like a couple of weeks after.
You think they're going to franchise tag him?
Yeah, probably.
They got to franchise tag him because that is like stupid money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like elite money.
Yeah, but I mean, the dude gets in trouble, so he's going to have to...
But, you know, he stayed cool this year.
Yeah, after he served his time.
That's true.
I mean, he's good for a 2-game suspension every year at least.
2-game suspension or a hip injury, one of the two. But dude, it's still going to cost him.
Yeah, another big running back, LeGarrette Blount.
Yep. Great year.
Terrell Pryor, which, I mean, really, he'd be kind of an idiot to accept anything from Cleveland. I would be trying to get away from that.
What if they paid him Dez money? Do you stay?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might not.
I mean, it's all about the money in the NFL, dude.
I'd ask him if I could play quarterback.
Something. Alshon, which Bears will probably re-sign him.
Yeah, I think he's going to
Lat Murray, that's a pretty big one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean,
they act like they don't like him.
No, yeah. I mean,
I don't understand.
Del Rio would bench him after 2 quarters, regardless.
I just don't understand.
I don't either. It would drive me insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you owned him, you were wondering what in the heck is going on.
Because he'd rush for like 120 and a touch, and then the next week he'd like.
He was the most consistent running back in the NFL this year. Consistent, dude.
And
I mean, he had a couple of games, I think, where he was injured, and that was it.
He had one fumble and they benched him.
I haven't looked at the all of the averages, but he's up there with like consistency.
Yeah.
So then we have Fat Eddie,
Fat Edward,
Kenny Britt.
Britt.
He could go anywhere, really.
You know, he played well enough this year that he could earn him a spot.
He did. I mean, he acted like somebody who was about to be a free agent.
It happens.
You know,
it happens.
Somebody that, not Michael Floyd.
Not the opposite of Michael Floyd's laying dudes out now. Yeah. Like I don't know what it is. Like people go and they go to New England and they're like, man, I'm a shit show. And then they go there and they're like,
it's like the holy water is thrown on them or something.
Legitimately, Randy Moss went out there and, he was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to catch like 18 TDs.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. Then Adam Thielen.
Yeah, he's white. Don't worry about him.
Deshaun Jackson. Danny Woodhead.
Daniel.
Taylor Gabriel.
Taylor Gabriel. He's come up big this year.
He has. Teddy Ginn.
They'll re-sign him. Nobody else wants him.
Pierre Garçon. He's he's got to be done soon.
Dude, but, they kind of need him. If Deshaun goes, and they're going to sign one of them. I'm signing Pierre over Deshaun. Anyway.
Yeah. Then you have, let's see, where was I? Dontrell Inman.
Yeah.
And I put my last one on here was Jack Doyle because I thought that was interesting. Because anybody who needs tight end help, if they don't go Dwayne Allen again, if he decides that he's getting close or whatever he's going to do.
He could be a good fit in Miami, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they need a tight end.
They do.
After Jordan Cameron quit.
So, that's there's a lot more free agents, but they're on down there, and there's not anybody really notable. But let's talk about our top 25 for next year. Number 1 right now, you have the pick. You're on the clock, Nolan.
I'm going to take DJ.
You are?
Yeah,
me too.
I'm taking DJ.
David Johnson, all the way.
He scored 25 a week.
He doesn't get in trouble either.
He doesn't get in trouble.
And he doesn't get hurt until this last scare.
Yeah, but it's not that. He'll come back from this.
Oh yeah, no, it was just a scare.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a meniscus deal. He's good. Then you go Lev Bell.
I agree with you. I'm going Lev Bell next. And the only reason I'm not taking Lev Bell 1 is because you got to worry about him smoking the ganj and then getting suspended, and then he's injury prone a little bit too.
Yeah.
But if he acted like David Johnson does, he's number 1.
There's no question. It's kind of like a 1A, 1B situation.
It really is. But I'm taking DJ over him, over Le'Veon.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. And Le'Veon's the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's the deal. And then who do you go in next? You're going Zeke. I'm going Zeke.
Feed me.
I'm going Zeke. Look at this, how it has shifted. Oh, how the mighty have fallen from the freaking 0 RB bull crap. It's like, man, yeah, I get it. Receivers score a lot of points, but they're not guaranteed to touch the ball every second down.
At all.
It's just, and you see what the top running backs can get you.
No doubt.
And obviously they're more injury prone, but it's just for me next year, I'm not even tinkering with that dumb crap.
No. I ended up winning the J.A.R.V.I.S League, and the reason is because I had Lev Bell.
Yeah.
He won it. The rest of my team was trash, but I had Lev Bell.
When he's getting you
He scored 48.
40 points. I mean, it's just like...
Wow, he scored 40. Sorry.
Yeah. Dude,
somebody should have split pot. I hope she's watching.
And Jeff Donahue in one league he had David Johnson and Lev Bell.
That's filth.
It's filth. I mean, there was no beating that.
No, all year long. I mean, that's 50 a week.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
minimum.
don't even have to... you can have Torrey Smith.
Yeah, he's going to score you 6. I mean...
Then you got to go... for me, I've got to go Antonio Brown.
He's still the best receiver in football, period.
So, is this where you would put Odell Beckham after that?
I'm putting ODB at 5. And the only reason is because ODB is going to catch 100 balls. He's relatively healthy. I hate Eli. I hate everything about the Giants, but I think ODB goes about 5. But I agree with your 5th pick too. I mean, being up there. I mean, he's definitely a top 10.
DeMarco Murray, he's got to be up there. I love how we're talking about all these running backs. It makes me feel really good inside and outside. But this one's kind of questionable.
I would totally do this the way you have it.
Mike Evans?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just okay. So Jameis is getting better.
Tampa Bay might draft a receiver in the
That's just going to help him. They need somebody.
Yeah, they might. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is that would help him.
It's gonna help him. They also need a running back because I don't
Dougie
think
Fresh ain't doing it.
I don't think he's going to be there.
Yeah, they need to address the running back situation big time.
But Mike Evans is going to get force fed the ball in the red zone, and I mean he's just a physical beast.
Then Adriel Jeremiah.
Yep, he'll come back from his injury. He almost played at the end of last season. If they'd needed him,
if there was any reason to
he would
play
have played.
him, yeah.
But this guy before he got hurt,
dude, he was killing it.
Oh, dude,
I would have won a championship for sure. I had Melvin Gordon and AJ Green go down. I made it to the championship game, limped in.
Hey,
and then it was just like. I was just hoping for a lot of things on the other side, but
on the J.A.R.V.I.S league, if I had AJ still, I mean, I bet you Candace would have split pot then. Huh?
Oh man, call out. Then this one's a little questionable too. I could interchange this with T.Y. Hilton, but Jordy Nelson right there.
I don't hate Jordy. Jordy showed a lot this year, and he's still got a lot left in the tank after the injury. He started off really, really slow, didn't look like himself, but started catching balls down the field, and then he's a wily veteran that in the red zone is going to get open.
He did a lot better coming back from it than Jamal Charles did, that's for sure.
It was like Jamal pumping the brakes. Am I back? Am I not back? New surgery? I don't know. Retire? Got it.
It's a new dance move. Then you have Shady McCoy.
I like this. I think he's a top 10 play.
Up there. And then, like I said, T.Y.'s up there.
ODB.
Then I have Devonta Freeman, man. I really think that he's...
Man, you can't really argue with it. And what's crazy is we go from this year... And and next year we've got Devonta Freeman over Julio, which is just ridiculous. But it goes along the lines of what you're saying is this zero RB theory.
Well, it's just a theory.
It's a theory, but here's what I think the theory was about. And this is digressing hugely, but I think it was about being contrarian to the way the draft was going. So if they took all the good running backs, and you get down there, and Zeke and all those guys are gone, DeMarco, LaShawn, they're all gone. I mean, you don't have to take Todd Gurley there or Jordan Howard there and get a lesser running back. You can go ahead and get wide receiver, and then if there's still not a good running back, go ahead and take another wide receiver and go contrarian to the draft.
Yeah, and there was a huge gap between the better running backs and the
Yeah.
We'll see what happened. I mean, DeMarco Murray was like a third rounder,
This year? Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So it's like you just never can tell if you can get that value down there. But now it's going to be top heavy for the running backs because they all did what they did this year, and last year it's all receivers doing what they did last year. And also, I think it's another cause and effect type deal with all of the injuries that we had at running back last year, and everybody thought that was just like, man, everybody was gun shy, and then this year it's just like more of the same. It was a lot of injuries on the running back front.
It happens. They're going to get hurt, but the upside is just too crazy because I can look down here at number 30 on our list, Stephon Diggs, and if I take Zeke and then I get Stephon Diggs, I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Next on my list is going to stay more of the same with the running backs, and I'm crazy about Melvin Gordon. So
I like Melvin Gordon.
He's 3 spots out of the top 10 for me, but he's up there. And then Julio, which man, that's a huge drop, but it's just like, man, he had so many. He's so up and down. It's
which is crazy because they didn't used to do that.
Mm-mm.
I mean, he goes for 300 and then he catches, 4 balls for 18 yards.
Yeah,
and
it was hard to be a Julio owner. I don't ever own him. I mean, I had him the year that he was a complimentary back to Roddy.
Yeah,
and that was the only year I ever owned him. I just can't pick the third overall player that has so many injuries, and I mean he's kind of boomer bust. When you need him the most, he's not going to help you,
and he stays hurt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I can't draft somebody that's stumps his toe and out for 2 weeks every year. Then I have Jordan Howard, which
dude, I'm drinking this Kool-Aid.
Oh god,
heavy. And if these were my rankings, I'd have Jordan Howard over Melvin Gordon and Devonta Freeman.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that.
But it's
keeper league. I feel like he could be up there. Keeper league, he could be up there.
You're going to get him. I mean, in a keeper league, typically a lot of times they have to be drafted. I know that in our league, he was drafted, and you've got him on your team. And I think outside of maybe, David Johnson, he may be the most valuable keeper in the league.
Yeah,
I mean, legitimately,
great trade.
It was a great trade. I mean, it got me to the Super Bowl.
It did.
Got me to the Super Bowl.
Then I have Michael Thomas. I mean, gosh, that for me to be that high on him.
Dude, that's up there.
That's pretty up there, though. I mean, that might be like 2 up there.
But here's the thing: he is playing the what was that receiver a few years ago? That just 1,000 yards every season, catching 80 balls. He was a tall guy. Played in New Orleans.
Colston,
Marquise Colston. He's playing that role.
Yeah,
and that's what Drew Brees likes. And he doesn't have a safety valve anymore with Graham being gone.
Mm-hmm.
Cook spreads the field for him, and he's going to go off on some individual games. But Mike Thomas is going to be consistent.
Yeah, he's going to be consistent. He's going to get you the TDs too. Dude, how about this, man?
He's up there.
That's pretty up there.
He's pretty up there. I like it.
Tyreek Hill.
I like it. He's up there for me too. I mean, this guy is going to get utilized over there.
I can remember seeing him in the preseason and just going, that's raw talent, raw speed, raw talent, raw playmaking ability.
He's fast.
There's not very many players because I watch preseason until my eyes bleed, and I'm just like, every year it's just like it gets to the point where it's like I really don't want to go back and watch this game, but I need to. And I'll go back and watch it, and I'll notice a few players, and he was one of the ones that stood out the most.
He's fast, electric, and I think he should be up there on draft boards, no doubt. I love this next one too.
Devontae Adams.
So here's my thing. Okay, so Jordy showed a bunch this year, but Devontae Adams is has really taken some strides. Devontae has become, whereas Jordy was spreading the field and going deep, and Devontae Adams does that now, and Jordy's kind of running the underneath, let me catch it here or there deal. So I like Devontae Adams being up there. I could even listen to an argument where Devontae Adams was higher than Jordy Nelson. But I really like him there at 18 because I think that's more along the lines of what's actually going to happen. But yes, Adams has taken a number of steps forward, steps that we thought he was going to take last year, with Jordy being hurt. But I think that prepared him for this year. And he went ahead and took a couple steps forward. He needs to work on his hands a little bit.
He's the new Randall Cobb,
dude, and like better because he can run down the field. Yeah. He's much bigger too. But yeah, and they've got some problems over there with the number of quality receivers that they have. Because Randall Cobb, let's just be honest about it, he's still good. Mm-hmm. I mean, you saw that last week. You have to cover him. Jordy Nelson can still play. You got Devontae Adams, and then you got Ty Montgomery, who's not a running back. He's a Lance Dunbar running back.
That's another team that needs to draft a running back.
They need one, and but hey, let's just not get it twisted here. And I know you're gonna hate me for this, but Eddie Lacy before he got hurt was averaging 4 or 5 a carry.
No, yeah, no, I feel you. They probably need to re-sign him, but it's just like, honestly, if I was his agent, I would be advising him to go somewhere else and not deal with Mike McCarthy ever again.
Yeah.
And maybe send hate mail to Mike McCarthy for the rest of his life.
He'd be a great fit in Baltimore.
He would. That's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Or Tampa Bay.
Or Tampa Bay. He would be a good fit either one. But, they need to boot West and run a little thunder and lightning with Dixon and Lacy.
Yeah.
They need to do that.
Thunder and lightning. So, my next guy, I mean, I was ready to piss on this fire and forget it forever. I thought he was...
Dude, his coach did.
Absolute...
He pissed on him. The coach pissed on him.
I know.
And then...
And that's kind of what he needed,
and then he got somebody to retire.
They left him in Miami... and just went about their business with Arian Foster.
I don't know what he did to the coach's daughter. I don't know what it is.
I don't either. But
they're bad.
So J.A.R.V.I.S
3 200-yard games this year. The guy's going to get force-fed the pellet. I'm not wild about Tannehill, but that offense as a whole, Jarvis Landry is still going to be a PPR guy, good. But Devontae Parker is spreading the field, and J.A.R.V.I.S is going to rush for over 1,000 next year. So,
how about this next one?
Man, I don't know what to think about him. I mean, because he either scores 30 points or 4 points, and I hate that about him.
But so somebody. Did I mention? I don't think I put on the list. Tim Hightower is a free agent, so we're talking about Mark Ingram. And I know everybody who owned him this year is going, oh my God. But I think it's a Sean Payton situation with Ingram. It's something.
Totally is, but and it's not unlike what he's done his whole career. I mean, when Chris Ivory was over there, it was like Chris Ivory.
Last year, he was number 3, though.
Dude, I get it, but he had injuries, and I mean,
he didn't have any injuries last year.
No, at the running back position within the team.
Yeah.
And it forced him to get more carries, and they didn't have as many people, and and then they signed Tim Hightower off the street, and he came in there and pillaged it, and it was like, what's going on? Okay, so. A couple or 3 weeks ago, we had our dead to me deal.
Yeah.
And Mark Ingram's dead to me.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's a legitimate player, and I would still put him right here in the top 20.
But would you could do this? You could switch him out with Diggs, Jarvis Landry, Des Bryant.
I'm big on all those guys next year.
But we're talking about our top 25. So if would you keep Mark Ingram in your top 25, or would you?
You have to keep him in your top 25
because Lamar Miller's down there, and we all saw what Lamar Miller did, and he's going to be another product of Brock Osweiler next year too.
Let's say that
they did exactly what they said they were going to do, and they fed him the pellet.
Let's say for a second that Brock Osweiler gets better next year. It's going to be hard for him not to. Okay, first off, yeah, I get it, but it's going to be hard for him not to get better. But let's just say for a second, because I said I was going to say this a bunch tonight. Let's say for a second that they get Tony Romo. How far up? They can't afford it, but hey, they could cut ties right now and go, Brock, take a pay cut, get behind Tony, let him show you the ropes like Peyton, and quit being shitty. But if they got a legit quarterback, let's say Romo ended up there, and I don't think Jerry would let this happen either, but let's say that he ended up in Houston, how far does Lamar Miller go up your board?
Well, dramatically.
He goes in my top 15.
Yeah.
Minimum. Maybe in my top 10.
Yeah.
And this guy's getting 25 touches a game. I felt like he faded a little bit.
But I don't know, man. I don't know that he would. There's no way that he would be in the top 10 for me.
Dude,
I don't care who's at quarterback. I feel like, Miami cutting bait with him, and we were all jacked up about him going to Houston and getting all these touches. But when I'm looking at it now, I'm like, man, maybe there is something that they saw that.
Well,
because it's not like he was just setting the world on fire, even against terrible run defenses.
No,
when Brock was actually playing, not decent.
He never played.
You can't even say decent.
But if you've got DeAndre Hopkins catching 90 balls, you got Will Fuller catching 75 balls. You got Fedorowicz and catching his 50, 60 balls from tight end. You've also got who's the other ex-quarterback from Ohio State they got out there? Braxton Miller. And you've got that offense going vertical. Lamar Miller is going to pillage. And he's going to catch more balls out of the backfield. But I'm with you. I just think the common denominator is, he had an above-average offensive line this year with no vertical passing game. When he was in, Miami, he had a subpar offensive line, so to speak, a little below average, but he had another crack quarterback. Tannehill's not good, but and Tannehill, while he throws the deep ball decent, he was hitting J.A.R.V.I.S on short little passes, which brought everything in, and he didn't do well. I think if he played on the Pittsburgh Steelers, or he played on the Dallas Cowboys, or some teams that had a vertical passing game, I think Lamar Miller would be great. I think he's a really good talent. But here's the problem. If you give him 30 carries a game, he's going to wear out over the course of the season.
Yeah, you've got to have some kind of supplement. And Alfred Blue ain't it.
No, they need
that Jonathan Grimes, it wasn't bad, but he's going to be a free agent this year.
It'd be good for them to get a bruiser.
Yeah.
And Blue is that guy, except he doesn't bruise anybody.
They could get LeGarrette Blount, Latavius Murray, Eddie Lacy.
Man, I would hate for Lat Murray to go over there because, it makes them both crap.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm with you. Something's got to happen over there.
You know who else desperately needs a running back is Jacksonville.
Man.
Desperately.
Bad. I see him drafting one this year. I could see a Foreman or somebody like that go over there. They need somebody.
Yeah, they need somebody. They need a bruiser like MJD was.
Yeah. Between the tackles.
Anyway, that was a huge digression.
But
it's a great topic because you don't know if you're going to put Mark Ingram up there. There's plenty of people that... this is just very raw for next year, by the way. This will change 4 million times before
no doubt.
September. This is just a for fun type deal. I mean, and really, there's a lot of these draft players that could, pop into the top.
It happens every year.
Did you see?
Odell Beckham
I don't know if you remember, but Ezekiel Elliott was in the top 10 this year, and he was a rookie. So you never know. You could see somebody in the preseason just
a good situation,
and it's just preseason, but still, there could be somebody built up in this offseason that is just like the next Todd Gurley, the next whoever that could go up to the top 25. But,
I really so this is where we could rotate a lot of people in and out here. We could rotate a lot of people in and out. And you got Brandon Cooks here.
I do.
And here's my only issue. Mike Thomas, Brandon Cooks, and Mark Ingram aren't in the top 25. But it's one of those things that it's like they're all so good that it's hard not to put them in the top 25.
Right. Well, and also, I mean, I know that you really didn't know what to do with 23 and 24 on this list either, because and we'll get there, but it's just like, I mean, you don't know what to do with that either.
Doug Baldwin's in the top 25.
Doug Baldwin is in the top 25 to me.
No doubt.
I think so, and I drafted him hard this year, and I'll draft him again next year.
No doubt.
So the next two, and this is about as controversial as you'll get. But just only because the end of the season. But if you were talking about week 5 or week 6, you'd be like, hell yeah.
Oh.
So it's Michael Crabtree and Amari Cooper in either order.
Their body of work for the year is going to be, they're definitely going to be top 25 wide receivers. And their body of work.
One of them will be.
And they're, they've got a chance to be both. I mean, but
they've got to do like what they were doing for 7 games. They can't be doing this BS at the end.
But Amari's going to do this. That's going to be who he is. And, Crabtree's going to do this. And, he just gets more volume. And
it's just because Amari draws better coverage. I mean, that's just how it is. That's why Jordan Matthews was good whenever he was there. It's because Macklin was getting more coverage.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, when Matthews was good, he had somebody on the other side, and it's the same deal with. Dude, I think Crabtree is just a phenomenal football player, but I'm very biased.
I know.
Guns up, man. I mean, Oakland was definitely my second team this year because there's so many Red Raiders on that
Washington
team.
Too.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what that running game is going to do? Jalen Richard looked better than everybody, but it was only because they just let him play more.
Hey, he was good, but man, okay, so here's my only issue. Okay, so I think Dez Bryant deserves. Okay, so let me say a bunch of stuff. Dez Bryant is not a fundamentally good football player. Okay, he does not have a large route tree. He is not overly fast. He does not have great hands. But Dez Bryant has the freaking X factor, and he gets
playmaker. He's a hashtag playmaker, he's strong.
He's a strong guy, and he's always going to be in the mix in the red zone.
Yeah.
So I think he belongs in the top 25. And
like we were saying earlier, you could probably switch him and Ingram out.
Yeah, you could probably switch him and Ingram, and leave the other 2 New Orleans wide receivers.
Or bump down one of the Oakland guys.
Or bump down however, but I mean, I think Dez deserves to be in there, and I think. Not that Dak doesn't have the full playbook, because I think at this point in the season he does. But I think Dak is... Okay, so Dak threw for 3,800 this year. Not special. Not even good. We always make fun of Cam Newton for throwing for under 4,000. But Dak, he didn't turn the ball over. I think it's closer to say he's going to throw for... 500 more yards next year, but I think he's going to I don't want to say double his turnovers, but he's going to double his turnovers.
He's going to take. You're going to take more risks after you get into it, and especially after
if they win the Super Bowl,
after you get the love and respect of every fan.
Mm-hmm.
There's not the Tony Romo lovers and the Dak lovers. Once you get that, where people can cuss at Dak and be okay with cheering him on the next play or the next series,
because
like you could with Tony. Where you could be like, man, you son of a bitch. You just threw that pick.
Yeah.
But, man, you were going for that home run, and I saw him down there. It was just like, it was a little underthrown.
It was a little but, a lot of Tony's, Dak hasn't had to put up with what Tony put up with.
No, and every quarterback at some point gets to that point where they've been behind center for so long for one team where they're going to see everything. They're gonna the locker room reporters are going to come up with every question that you've ever had and just put it on you.
But he's gonna take a few more chances and he's gonna get better.
He's gonna figure out how to find Dez.
He's gonna figure out. It's
been a whole season of figuring out how to find Dez. It really has,
and it's really started to materialize in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was due to Dez's injury. So,
yeah,
he's hopefully, knock on wood, he'll be healthy next year, and I think he'll be in the top 25 if he is.
I think so too. I think you're right. I had this guy, and he was one of my favorites this year.
Hope so.
He was one of my favorites this year. Dion Lewis. I had him in my top 25 this year.
I hope they trade LeGarrette Blount because literally he's the only keeper I have on my roster after I traded you Jordan Howard.
Yeah, I think that he's good enough, man. He is. That injury thing just killed him, but I love that. This is what gives me a lot of faith in him, and it'll give me even more faith if they don't re-sign Blount, which they won't because they're not going to spend money. It's the Patriots. They can make a hamburger out of nothing. And
they do every year.
And the fact that they didn't rush this dude back, they went on without him, and they're easing him back in. And
he's going to be big in the playoffs.
He's going to be big. I just think that there's so much potential there for next year, dude. I really do. I think he's going to be one of my top targets. I'm just going to lay it out. It's so early, but I'm laying it out there, man. I mean, if you can get him in the second round, can you imagine having a great receiver? And if he plays like he did last year, having a great receiver in that.
Oh,
dude, there's people that own Dion Lewis that remember Glenn Graves had him. I mean, you remember he was cutting it up. He was putting points on the board on your team, and you were loving every second because you squirreled that shit. You got him off of waivers for one. There's nobody that drafted him, and you got him off of waivers, and he was getting you 20 a week. So. He can do that. He can do it.
There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt.
No doubt about it.
I think we should have the Nolan Howard honorable mentions.
Okay, so all right.
As we went through 25, so I want to know your honorable mentions for that are flirting.
Okay, so based off quarterback situation, depending on what happens. I love Stephon Diggs going forward. I think he's a special guy. I don't think that he will be as effective with Teddy B in there, but I don't think it's going to hurt him that much. And then he needs to stay healthy.
Will people quit with the Gronkowski?
Dude, Gronkowski's not my top 50.
Will people please stop?
It's just like OVER. I'll tell you who is in my top 50. Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce. He's
Travis Kelce. I'm going to tell you right now, and this is my deal next year. I would draft him where I draft Gronk.
Well, for me, that's not saying
no,
that much because I'm not dumb enough. I'm not dumb enough to take Gronk in the top 15 like everybody else.
But I'm not taking him there either. But
I would take him right outside of. Yeah,
I'm gonna take him in the 30 to 40 range.
Yeah, I probably would.
I'll take Kelsey.
If I had a pretty good receiver, if my draft went where I love it, where I get like 11 or 12th pick.
Yeah.
And I get receiver, running back, and then he's there in the third round. Yeah, I could probably do it.
Kelsey and then another running back or whatever.
Yeah, I could probably see myself doing it. I mean, I've always been high on certain tight ends, but it's like, tight end is such a shit.
It is. I hate it, but
it's like either you get one of those top 3 or 4, or you just you pick somebody up off of waivers.
And this year it got worse because a lot of our top 3 or 4 were not good.
Yeah. I mean, Delaney still panned out pretty good. I mean, it wasn't setting the world on fire, but
let's see. Cody Kidd.
We have 9,000 comments because we hadn't been checking that.
No, I mean, I was just checking it real quick.
Is it stuttering at all? We never checked that.
No. Fat Eddie's terrible, says Corey Ritzma.
Yeah.
He's not. He averaged 4 or 5 a carry.
No, he's terrible. I mean, I hope that he sells taquitos on the boardwalk somewhere for next year and doesn't even play football because I don't want to deal with that headache of trying to rank him every week.
Cody says Romo goes nowhere.
You can't be a Romo hater.
We'll see.
There's a guy in that postseason league that's team name is like No Romo. As long as I beat that guy, I'll be happy.
Dude, first off, we're going to beat that guy. And second off, we're probably going to finish 1-2. But the thing is I mean, this week is tough. It's a tough week because here's what's going to happen in that league. All the guys that got their 90 points this last week, 120 points this week, are going to have to max out. So they're going to play their Le'Veons and their Zekes. And then when those two teams win, they have nobody to play. I mean, you're going to play LeGarrette Blount, but they're going to have nobody to play.
Everybody's going to have Tom Brady. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Hey,
let's talk a little bit. So there's got to be at least 20 of you that pay attention to this that are in there.
Aaron Rodgers this week.
You got to. It's a great matchup. I mean, the Cowboys secondary is not good.
I'm starting Aaron Rodgers. I want to start Matt Ryan, but you can't. He's against Seattle.
You can't.
So I'm starting Aaron Rodgers.
You really want to start Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, but you can't.
You can't.
And I think that they can win that game.
I'm starting next week.
Right.
Against the Cowboys.
They can win that game. They can win that game. Hands down. I think the Cowboys play Atlanta. Yeah. And if Seattle figures out a way to win that game, then God, we have a just walk straight through a cold fart to the Super Bowl because that would be the easiest win.
Man, I'm with you too, and but I also think that Thomas Rawls is a good play this week.
He's got to be.
Thomas Rawls, and I know this kind of goes right into what we were talking about.
But so if you didn't use Lamar Miller, do you use him against that? I mean, New England's a pretty good run D, but I mean, he's going to be one of the guys that's out there because a lot of people didn't have the huevos to start Lamar Miller.
Chris Abels just asked Romo versus Aikman, who's better? I can't answer this question because I'm 100% biased, but here's what I'm going to tell you. Better quarterback
for me. Aikman for me.
Let me tell you who Troy Aikman is. He's a game manager, and Emmitt Smith and the defense and the offensive line won the titles. So I think Romo's better. I think Romo, under his situation, would have pillaged.
Romo, yeah. Well, I mean that's a great argument because Romo has had way more adversity. But I say that, but I mean Troy started out like 0-.
Yeah, it was.
They had a couple of seasons where they were like 0-13.
But dude, when the offensive line faded and Emmett left you saw who Troy Aikman was. Pick six. He was a pick six quarterback who was in an unbelievably good situation for a number of years. And
there are people that used to compare. Okay, there are people that used to compare Joe Montana and Troy Aikman,
and they were all completely high.
You don't even watch football if you can even put them in the same conversation.
They were completely high, and I don't want to take any. I love Troy Aikman. Okay,
yeah.
I love that man.
I mean, you know, he talks a lot of shit about the Cowboys.
I'm a realist when it comes to the Cowboys. I love them to death, but I hate Jerry Jones.
My mom would have put us up for adoption and ran away with Troy Aikman if she had the option back in the 90s. I mean, there was a lot of mamas that loved him.
Imagine if you had the best offensive line in the league. You had a top 2 defense every year. You had Michael Irvin, who got to push off at will.
Dude,
and Jay Novacek.
That's what Tony Romo hasn't had is a Deion freaking Sanders on the other side of the ball, stopping the other team every single time they try to move.
He hadn't had an elite
Charles
defense.
Haley on the other side of the ball.
He hadn't had an elite defense.
I mean, Sean Lee is really good, but
he's injury prone.
Well, he is, but I mean, it's like, you know, there was a lot of pieces to that defensive puzzle that we had back then. I mean, it was Super Bowl teams. It was great offense, great defense. It wasn't just the offense. The offense is what everyone remembers, but I'm a defensive guy, and so it's like every Sunday I wear a Deion Sanders jersey because I have a hex issue where I don't wear anyone current jersey anymore because they get hurt. I bought a Sean Lee jersey and he went down. So anyway. Digressing a lot, but thanks for that. Was a great question. That could probably go on all night. I mean,
it could.
That's great. Jay Novacek or Jason Witten?
Jay Witt is so much better than Jay Novacek, and Jay Novacek was a beast.
Yeah, he was beastly. He just didn't hang out as long as Jay Witt was like, I'm going to do this until literally I cannot move my legs anymore.
Did you know who is? And I mean, this is what stats and Super Bowls get you. Similar to Troy Aikman, Eli Manning's in the top 10 of most quarterback categories all time.
I can see that.
Did you also know that Eli Manning has not been hurt?
No, he has played consecutive games. It's
rolling up on Brett Favre. I mean, he hadn't missed a game in his career.
Unbelievable.
And he's going to end up being a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, he won 2 Super Bowls. Is Eli Manning good? No. He sucks. Eli's horrible.
He's a product of the number of games that he's played.
It's an accumulation of stats.
But he had, at one point, when he had Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz playing the best football that they could play, dude, you remember you were drafting Hakeem Nicks in the top 20.
Man, there's no doubt. Just like you're doing
Odell.
Victor Cruz. Just like you're doing Odell.
Yeah.
I mean, you're drafting that guy.
And that was a product of Eli. So, I mean, Eli has his moments. He makes terrible decisions. Terrible decisions.
He's got that look on his face.
It's just the look that he puts off on his face. It's like a 4-year-old taking a dump whenever he gets hit. You know, like a.
You know what I mean?
It is. 4-year-old's taking a dump.
But
I have a 2-year-old, and he hasn't quite. He's kind of like he conceals his dumps right now, but I think when he's 4 and he starts getting proud of them like his daddy, he's gonna really put some faces on like Eli. I mean, we should just coin that as the Eli face when he's taking a dump.
Man, that's it. Hayes calls them dolphins. When a turd hits the water, he's like, "Look, Dad, I made a dolphin." Boop. And I'm like, and then it'll be a little one. He'll go, "That's just a fish." So, anyway.
Let's talk a little bit more about the postseason and if you're in playoff leagues. So, here's one of my deals. I have to make a decision. So, you know, you make your, like, last week, I think that we both did really well because a lot of people going into postseason leagues, you know, if you're using a player for the whole postseason or you're using them for just... Like what we do is
an elimination
deal where you get to use only one player. You start factoring in too often. you play too much of the win-loss. You have to look past that and say, it doesn't matter if you're using this player week 1 or in the Super Bowl. You're looking at that matchup and trying to get 30 points.
That's why I played Lev Bell week 1.
Right. I played Lev, Antonio, and Big Ben because it was the best matchup across the board out of the entire playoffs. You could put any team up against any team, and you just be like, I mean, this is the best. This is as good as it's going to get, no matter what. So you have to unload on that.
There's no doubt. And then you get to
I'm
this
just glad I didn't
season.
play Ladarius.
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
It's a trap, man. I told you weeks ago. Ladarius Green is a trap.
I mean.
But, and maybe next year he'll take over Heath Miller's deal. But it's a trap right now. But, the deal is now it's about strategy, right? So, week 1, you've got to play those matchups, and you might have to play a Lev Bell. But, like, this week, and you may disagree, but I really wanted to play Zeke this week.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the reasoning. Because Dallas could lose.
Oh, there's always a could.
I don't think that they'll lose, but I also think that Aaron Rodgers could hang 38 on us. So, it's like, do I play Zeke this week? Do I not? But if I wait a week and he goes against Atlanta, he's gonna.
That's a toasty matchup.
He's gonna pillage it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait on Zeke. I'm gonna wait on him. I think Dallas is gonna win. And I've got other options. So you gotta look and go, okay, well, I need some options here, or I'm not gonna have anybody to play. If you play Lev Bell in week 1, then you got to start playing strategy down the stretch.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm starting Thomas Rawls this week.
Yeah.
Because I think Seattle's going to lose, and I still think Thomas Rawls is going to have a good game.
It's an unbelievable matchup. You have to.
Unbelievable.
But so when you get down, I love this part about this postseason league. Like last year, it's our first year to do it, so you learned everything last year, or at least the people. There's only 16 out of 40 that were in there, and it's completely different this year because I think we had a flex last year, and then we're doing the IDP this year, so I think that's completely different. I love it too,
and we got to talk about that too.
Oh, we do,
because there was some botchings of the IDP last week.
Oh, there was plenty of botchings.
If you play a corner in IDP,
you're
an idiot.
You're botching.
You're an idiot.
Well,
there
safety. Might be a couple of corners that once you get through these top tier people at safety, but there's the safeties first, but then it's like that corner 2. Since we're going to go ahead, I guess we're going to talk about it. It's the corner 2. It's not Richard Sherman. It's not. It's the guy across from him.
Yeah.
And, this is how good I am at IDP is I have no effing clue who that is in Seattle. It's like, I cannot wait to play a whole season of IDP, so I know so much about so much more about, because I love defense even more, but I don't pay attention enough to the names.
Because you don't have to.
Because I don't have to, but I can't wait to have to. I cannot wait to have to. We've got to.
It's going to be awesome. But, like, last week, there was one clear, because you got to play a linebacker. Right. You got to play a defensive back.
Right.
Okay, so there was only one defensive back that you could have played last week.
And it was Collins.
I
mean, and all of the top people in that deal had him.
You look at the top 20 tacklers in the NFL this year, and Collins is there. It's safety. And then you don't get to the next one until you're like 35 or 40. Yeah. And it's like, man, what are y'all doing? You started Richard Sherman? What?
Yeah,
I mean, you're hoping for a pick on a guy that didn't get balls thrown his way. Even the best corners in the league that gets picked, max 7 in a year. So you're hoping that he gets lightning in a bottle?
And if you look at their IDP rankings too, they're like 50, 60, 70. I mean, they're way down there. It's like, they're almost like waiver wire trash. That's the craziest thing about it. The difference in defensive fantasy and offensive is you want the guy that Matt Ryan steps up and says, "Oh, I'm gonna throw at you all 4 quarters. I'm throwing at you."
No doubt.
And you're just hoping that idiot. I mean, and it doesn't even matter if he gets burned. That's the thing. It's like you can get burned for a 60-yard TD and it doesn't count against you.
And there's
if they could figure out a way to do that, maybe it would be like it would kind of balance it. But I don't think they should. I think it should just be straight up defensive plays, tackles for loss, I like that. Yeah, tip balls. It's great, man. I like it. And all we had to do is get our feet wet, and we were, that's the beauty of this postseason deal. Is it's only 4 weeks. It's only $20. People aren't gonna just, get completely livid that they don't know how to play IDP. I didn't know how to play IDP.
No, sure.
I mean, it's like
I've played in one IDP league, so it helped me a little bit because I know tackles are the hotness.
Yeah,
and if you played, the outside linebacker for Houston.
Jadeveon
Clowney. If you played Clowney last week, you got bailed out on the pick. I mean, that's bad play.
But still, he didn't get that many points at all.
No.
It's like, in all they were talking about, Chris Collingsworth, I think he got a sore throat talking about how...
And I mean, he's a force in the league.
It was Tirico, how great of a game Jadeveon was having.
Oh my God! But and he did have a great game.
He did, but he didn't. But he didn't touch the ball. He didn't make tackles. It really wasn't like a huge game. He put
pressure. He drew double teams.
He was just there on the big plays.
Whitney Merciless was the guy to have for them. He's gonna rush the passer. He's gonna grab you a sack, and then he's gonna make 10 tackles. So that's the guy.
The research that I did before, because how both of us are, it's like if you're gonna do something, you gotta do it right.
That's true.
And especially in fantasy football. So the research that I did before going into the IDP was looking at the different schemes. That was the most important thing, because the 4-3 compared to the 3-4.
Absolutely.
Because in the 4-3, that middle linebacker is the hotness. In the 3-4, that outside linebacker is the hotness. That's crazy. And it's very simple when you look at it. If you look at it on a chalkboard, you're like, that makes total sense because there's only 3 dudes up here. The dude's going to bounce outside. There's not an extra end over here keeping him funneled into the middle. He's going to bounce outside, and hopefully they're going to run whichever way their better guard and their better tackle is. Yep. So you look at that, you find out who the better guard is. You're starting to look at offensive line, finally. Yeah. Like, besides, as a whole, you're looking at individual offensive line players, and you're like, man, this is the better side, much better side. And generally, it's the right side. I mean, with nearly every offense, the strong side is the right side, and the weak side is the left side. But you're looking at that, and you're playing that outside linebacker, that left outside linebacker, because he's getting nearly every play. Yeah. It's going to be a zone or a freaking sweep or something. And if you're playing against Le'Veon Bell, then you might get a shoelace every now and then.
It's true, but it's the schemes that get you there. But I mean, it's an easy thing. I mean, just go on ESPN.com, click on stats under go to
just pick the next guy that you haven't used
on the tackle list. Oh. I mean, it's pretty freaking simple. But this week there's a few, because you could play Merciless, you could play Keanu Neal.
But what about this? Yeah, I'm all over that.
I'm playing Keanu Neal.
I am too.
This
is the benefit of paying attention to this crap, this fantasy crap that we're doing when fantasy football is just playoff leagues going on. We're going to be honest about who we're playing, and you can use that to your advantage.
I'll just run down my roster. Okay, so I'm playing Aaron Rodgers this week. Okay, I'm playing Aaron Rodgers this week.
I am too.
Come get it. I'm playing Thomas Rawls this week.
Yeah.
Come and get it. I am going to play. Right now I've got Spencer Ware in the game, but I
have Spencer Ware. The only reason that I am
I'm a little
bouncing back and forth from. Well, Spencer Ware never scores touchdowns, by the way.
He never does. So I'm thinking about Lamar Miller. I'm close to playing Lamar Miller.
Yeah.
And here's.
But if you go Lamar Miller, so here's the deal. The only toying that I have with Spencer Ware is that you cannot play Spencer Ware, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce, and you have to play Travis Kelce this week. You cannot. If you don't play Travis Kelce this week, you're done.
So my receivers. I'm playing Devontae Adams.
Me too.
I'm stacking him with Rodgers.
Uh-huh.
I'm playing Antonio Brown because I didn't play him week 1.
I don't have him, so there's the first difference in our lineup.
Tyreek Hill.
See, if I play Ware, then I'm not playing Hill.
Then I'm not playing Hill, and then I'm thinking about playing Dez. But
I've got Dez in right now.
Yeah, so
it's the matchup.
It's the matchup.
You have to play. You're going to be like, shit, who am I going to play in the Super Bowl? But
it doesn't matter.
But you'll still have Cole Beasley, and you'll have Julian Edelman. Everybody's going to play Tom Brady. I mean,
Malcolm Mitchell if you need it. I mean,
yeah, everybody. See, but here's the strategy. How about this? Everybody's going to play Tom Brady. Why don't you think about if you were down a whole lot of points, everybody's going to play Aaron Rodgers if they didn't play him last week.
Yeah.
Everyone. You're stupid not to play Aaron Rodgers. But if you wanted to be like, hey, shit, I'm down 60 points and I need to make a big jump.
That's what I'm saying.
You throw Tom Brady in that MFR and Julian Edelman and you say, come get it. I get it. It's Houston. I get it. But it's Tom Brady. It's Houston, but it's Tom Brady.
He's still going to get his against Houston, but I still think Aaron Rodgers outproduces him this week.
Oh yeah,
but if you're going to counteract him,
Aaron Rodgers is going to outproduce him. But if you're playing the numbers and trying to roll the dice, you could be like Aaron Rodgers goes down in the first quarter, and you just won the league,
dude.
You might have won the entire thing.
No doubt. So I've got them in, and I've got Travis Kelce, and I'm doing the same thing with Spencer Ware because I don't like the matchup against Pittsburgh.
And you're playing Keanu
Neal.
So here's my deal. Here's my advantage over everybody is everyone and their dog played Bobby Wagner last week, and I did not.
You're going to play Bobby?
A lot of people are, and Timmons was that huge dude last week.
Dude, okay, so I also considered playing J.A.R.V.I.S.
He got like 30 points last week.
I got Keanu Neal, and who's my other one? Sorry.
I've got the Bobster in there right now. I think I'm going to run with it.
Well, it's a good play.
Especially, they're gonna run Freeman.
Okay.
And that's who you can use. Well, see, here's another thing.
I'm playing Sean Lee.
That's a pretty good play.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, though, how much is Green Bay going to run the ball?
Well, Sean Lee makes tackles all over the football field. He's crazy. He's
not going to be tackling Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams, and that's where everything's going to go.
I think he might tackle Randall Cobb some if he runs some.
There's no. Stuff, he's not Jared Cook. It's the best matchup that Jared Cook is going to have, but he just doesn't go to him.
But I still think that Sean Lee is going to get 12 to 14 tackles.
They're going to try to run, but.
And I'm going to hope for a pick 6 for his ass.
See, and
he's a great coverage.
Here's my other deal. What was my other deal? I was
looking at KJ Wright, too.
Our run defense is legitimate. It is. Mm-hmm. It's legit. It is too legit to quit. And 90s. And freaking Devonta Freeman is playing Seattle this week and then us next week, theoretically.
I'm playing Tevin Coleman against the Cowboys.
But, what I'm saying is, that matchup isn't going to get any better, and that's a dumpster fire for those two running backs if you don't use them this week.
But it's crap this week, too.
It's crap this week, it's crap next week, and then they're done. So it's like you don't get to use them.
There's no doubt.
If you play it like I'm going to play it, where the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl, then it's crap this week, it's crap next week, and then they're done.
No, that's right. But I'm probably I'm probably going to play Zeke next week, and then I'm going to stack Matt Ryan and Julio with it depends on who else gets in.
I mean, that will be a huge game for Matt Ryan and Julio. It's like you got to play Aaron Rodgers, you got to play Matt Ryan, and then you're going to have Tom Brady or Dak in the Super Bowl, and
I'm going to play Brady.
You know the deal, though. Every year, it seems, the Super Bowl doesn't have huge numbers. I mean, scores.
No, it doesn't.
So, it could potentially, even with Tom Brady, it could be 21-17.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, people show up. Defenses show up in the Super Bowl.
And everybody gets hyped, and the quarterback in the first quarter doesn't play real well. And
they hand off the ball to calm the water.
Mm-hmm. They make some early.
Hopefully, Dak doesn't put it in Zeke's chin strap.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you something. I do not think if Dak comes out and in the first 2 quarters is ineffective, I think you got to think about Romo.
I knew that was coming.
I think you got to. And here's why.
You don't.
Aaron Rodgers is going to drop 35 on us.
He is.
He's going to.
But so we.
And if we score a field goal in the first half,
talk straight up about this game.
Rome's will win it right now. You start Romo, you win the football game.
But you start Dak, you play the offense that you played all year long.
Mm-hmm.
You win the football game because you don't give Aaron Rodgers the damn ball. You hold the ball 12 minutes a quarter.
Maybe.
And you don't give Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers can score in that 3 minutes that he has per quarter.
Quarterback freaking pump.
But if you're just running the ball, if you're running the ball, knocking the clock off, and getting in the end zone while you're running the ball, then you can't be beaten.
If you do that.
It all comes down to a Hail Mary for Rodgers.
And Green Bay,
as long as the outcome doesn't come down to a stupid official call.
He does call it, but the point is that he is 35 points, in my opinion, are going to be scored by Green Bay. And
what's the
what if our rookie quarterback? It's like 56 or something. But,
that's about right.
But the thing is if our rookie quarterback comes out nervous and turns the ball over, which could happen. I mean, it's not like they don't have a good pass rush. I mean, they've got a good pass rush, and he's been lucky. He's due to turn the ball over. I'm just telling you, man. I'm a realist. I don't want this to happen.
No, you do not put Romo in.
I would start Romo. Oh, no shit. I'm starting Romo. I know you would. I think he's got a better chance to beat Atlanta and Green Bay that are going to hang 35 on us.
Not if you. If
Zeke.
If Dak doesn't have a hiccup, and you play the same football you've been playing all year long, you win. Win the title.
What if they stop the running game and he runs for 75?
They're not going to stop Ezekiel Elliott. They're not. Clay Matthews is a turd sandwich with long hair.
I do not disagree.
And he's the force of your defense.
I'm just saying that if you're kicking field goals in the first half where they're scoring touchdowns,
no,
you better.
But do we kick field goals
at halftime? You get.
But have we kicked field goals all year? Dan Bailey has not been the person to own in fantasy for the first time in.
No, I understand it,
and that's a product of Romy. I hate to say it. I love Romo just as much as you do.
Dude, Romo's never been in a situation.
What situation?
In the Dak's in right now.
We've been to playoff games.
He's never had the offensive line, the defensive capabilities.
We had it with. We didn't have the defense, but we had it
with DeMarco. Yeah, well, we caught the ball and won the game, and he should have went to the Super Bowl.
True,
but he got fucked. Sorry.
True, he did. It's true. That's very true.
I mean, so argue. I mean, I've argued with a lot of people about this, but you cannot argue that. Romo, in the same situation with maybe a lesser defense, took the team to the Super Bowl, and he got screwed on an official stupid play, and it really should have been a touchdown, and it worked us over. Dak, and I would argue that the offensive line's better, the running back's better, and the defense is way better, and Romo takes his team to the Super Bowl. Romo might be undefeated right now.
But it's too many hypotheticals.
I get it. But, okay, so...
Well, here's the beautiful thing about everything, is Romo or not, the best feeling, and Brian Carter told me this the other day we were riding around, the best feeling to have right now is that even if for some crazy-ass reason we don't win the Super Bowl, our team, it's not like it's with Peyton Manning where it was like it's all over after this. If we don't do it now, we won't do it in 5 more years.
We could get better.
We could have a 1990s run.
What if Irving gets better and we get another pass rusher on the other side?
We're about to get another pass rusher.
They'll be elite.
As soon as what's his name gets healthy next year, it's going to be ridiculous.
Oh, you're talking about
the linebacker we got?
Yeah, from Notre Dame.
But I'm
really
just saying. I mean, we're only going to get better.
It's going to get better.
So back to before I blood vessel pots, because I think that we're going to win, and it's not even going to be a question.
Romo took him down the field,
but
and scored a touchdown.
So
like it was nothing, and looked sharp.
So he did. But so
I love Tony.
So
Romo.
I do too.
He's my best friend.
I mean, I have this. I knuckle dabbed, shook hands, what up, bro, with him like a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife.
Let's call T-Bone. You want to?
My wife hung out at the game, the Mavs game. She got pictures with J.A.R.V.I.S and we talked to Rome's for a little while. And I mean, he's my boy. I mean, he's my buddy. He threw one of my friends that lives across the street named Zach O'Neill. He threw him an NFL football. And I was there. I was right next to him.
Zach threw it back to him.
He did. It was a bullet. It was like a 40-yard bullet. And Rome's wasn't even ready. It was like he had a little dude that was standing over there like on the practice field before the game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had somebody else catching it. Well, Rome's wasn't ready to get the heater in the chest. And, I mean, it was the throw of Zach O'Neill's life.
He's talked about it a couple times.
I mean, I was there. I witnessed it. It was the best throw I've ever seen.
So I got to ask a question. Who's Vanessa Stroud Haddock?
That's my mom.
Okay. Your mom says start Romo. What? And I'm sorry, but I love Romo, and I think Dak is a rookie, and I think he's going to make some mistakes, and he could cost us the game.
You're crazy.
I think he can. I mean, dude, he's been
You need to take that shit out of my house.
Dude, I understand.
You are not welcome to watch the game with me on Sunday.
I know, but I'm just
You are welcome all other times of the year, but do not put that juju in here.
Dude, I don't want it to happen.
I'm not even going to watch the game in this room.
I don't want it to happen. I don't want
I
it to
might not
happen.
even watch it at this house. I'm going to Zach. I'm going to your house. I don't even know this guy.
Dude, I don't want it to happen. I'm just saying, you're not at all nervous about having a rookie quarterback in the playoffs against Aaron Rodgers and a great offense?
I have a rookie running back in the playoffs against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
It's different. Completely different.
He doesn't fumble just like Dak doesn't throw picks.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. He doesn't fumble just like Dak doesn't throw picks.
Yeah, because people dropped him. He's thrown like 4 this season that hit people in the hands, and they dropped them.
How many did Jay Cutler throw?
No, dude, I'm not.
I'm just saying.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying it could be Nick Foles.
How many Eli Manning throw when he
more
won
than
Super Bowl?
Dak. More than Dak. Everybody, I think, in the league.
Everyone throws picks, but he's not going to throw any picks. We're going to run the ball down their throat. We're going to control the clock like we always do, and we're going to win the game.
If we run the ball down their throat, we win the game.
Why wouldn't we?
Just saying.
What else are you going to do? And if you need a first down, throw it to Jason Witten or...
I'm just saying, a couple drives, you got a false start penalty.
If you're on first down, you
stall out.
Throw a big bomb to Dez in the first quarter, and you get ahead on the board, and you control the ball the rest of the game.
I'm just saying, like you have a false start, or you have a bad penalty, or a holding call down in the red zone, and then we kick.
Riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me this. How many offensive
14?
False starts do we have this year? And tell me what rank we were.
I'm going to go with first in the league, and we had 10, 12 on the year.
Something like. I mean, I don't know. I was asking you.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I'm pretty
it's
sure.
Not a lot.
I'm pretty sure we didn't have very many false starts.
Or a holding penalty or something down in the red zone. We kick a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers punctures us. We go back down, and we have a really good drive.
That's about all we have tonight on the segment. I mean, seriously.
I do not want them to win, but
the Cowboys. You don't want the Cowboys to win.
Green Bay, but I'm telling you,
it sounds a lot like you don't want the Cowboys to win.
Dude, Vegas has it as a 5-point game.
Vegas has pretty much every game at a 5-point difference is a lot better odds than a lot of games this year.
It's one touchdown. It's one rookie quarterback mistake from losing.
Most really good games, like projected to be close games, are 2.5, 2.0, or 3 points.
I know.
And I wouldn't bet on a 3-point game to save my life. I get it, but I would bet on a 5.
Oh yeah. Hey,
if I was in Survivor, if I was in Survivor and there was a bunch of 3-point favorites and a 5-point, who would I go with?
That I do the exact
and I
same
had
thing.
some 7 points in there, but I wanted to save them. I would still go with the 5 easily.
Dude, I'm completely with you, and I think.
And we're at home.
I think Dallas.
And we're at home.
I am sitting.
The crowd will be so much behind him that everybody.
Dude, it's gonna be crunk. It's gonna be awesome. I'm in on that. But what I'm saying is that I'm sitting Zeke in the Survivor League this week. I'm not the Survivor, but in the playoff league.
Yeah.
I think Dallas is winning.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying if it doesn't go well, I mean, Green Bay's good. I'm just saying they're good. I'm more worried about Green Bay than I am Atlanta.
I'm more worried about. I mean, I don't even know. I think that all I'm even worried about right now is the Patriots, and you know it'd be okay. So I'm getting us off of this topic before
we need to
kick you out of my house. So, what if there's a lot of comics back in the day that started with "what if," you know, what if Superman did what? So what if Bill O'Brien and the Houston Texans take out the New England Patriots?
Well, this kind of goes into what our deal is right here.
Wouldn't that be the craziest shit you've ever seen in your life, though?
Dude, I think 15-5 in a playoff game is ludicrous, especially with the number 1 defense in the league. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying New England's bad. I just think 15-5 is a lot.
Yeah.
And New England's got a pretty good D. I mean, I think it's top 10.
Yeah, they have a really good D. Their D showed up this year.
It's good. It's top 10.
It looks like it did 3 years ago.
But if they expect LeGarrette Blount to rumble for $125 against the Texans,
it ain't gonna do it. It ain't gonna happen.
It ain't happening. Whitney's gonna stop that up.
Here is my deal. Here's my deal.
New England wins though.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be the craziest shit on the earth if Houston upset. How many people are placing that bet? I mean you're gonna make Vegas would turn the lights off if.
Oh my god!
Houston won. We're done. We're turning lights out.
Well, I've got Atlanta, New England, and then did you know Kansas City's favored?
Dude, hell yeah! I think that Kansas City has a better chance of getting to. I mean, I think Kansas City is right behind New England chance of getting to the Super Bowl.
So you're not buying into the Pittsburgh offense?
No, it's not that. It's that KC. It's that I have that much confidence in Andy Reid as a coach.
He's a very good coach. And Alex Smith doesn't turn over the ball.
Alex Smith does not turn over the ball. He doesn't throw it much, but he doesn't turn over the ball.
Similar to Dak. I mean, it's similar.
Yeah, and, man, I really think that, Casey's defense, Eric Berry's on the bubble on playing, isn't he?
Last I heard, he's playing.
That makes a huge difference. So, KC defense is straight legit. If their offense can play, they've been playing well all year. They just got to get the ball into Tyreek Hill's hands. Oh. I mean, dude, special teams gets them so many points that it's nuts. You can't do anything about special teams. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger isn't making a difference on special teams. Timmons isn't making a difference on special teams. Special teams is where shit can get crazy. Mm-hmm. And if you've been lights out on special teams, with KC defense has been one of the great. I had them most of the season and a lot of my fantasy teams, and I mean, the best reason to have them was because they scored on special teams, and it had a lot to do with Tyreek. But
Tyreek's legit.
And if Kelsey has one of those Kelsey games, I mean, you can't stop. I don't care who you are. It's going to be hard to stop. And if they can figure out a way to bottle up Lev Bell, which I think they can a lot. I mean, a lot better than Miami did.
Oh yeah, I mean, Levin fishing a run for $160.
No, he'll run for 100.
Yeah, I think he'll go for 100.
He'll run for 100 and have at least a TD, maybe two. I think KC can answer that. And if Marcus Peters can lock down, I mean, not lock down, but I mean, hold him to 80 yards, hold Antonio Brown to 80 yards and maybe a touch, then that's 3 touchdowns right there for your core best players. Mm-hmm. You can answer 3 touchdowns. You can.
Oh yeah, especially them. They're not going to turn the ball over, and they're going to just play a field position battle.
So yeah, I think that actually if KC wins, then I think that we have a chance of playing KC in the Super Bowl.
That'd be crazy,
dude. I'm telling you, I think that we do.
So that would be like KC to beat New England more than Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I think that Belichick is just as good of a coach as he's the best that there's been in a long time.
Yeah,
he could figure out an answer to Antonio Brown, Lev Bell. Here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest factor of it all. Ben Roethlisberger is a turd sandwich with cleats at away games. He is.
I know.
And that's going to be the deciding. That's the deciding factor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to get them beat, and that's what's going to move KC on to the next round.
I think you've talked me out of. Well, you've talked me into playing Antonio Brown this week.
Yeah, I mean, it could.
I have to play him.
Yeah, because they're going to get. I think they're going to get beat.
Man, it could happen.
It's going to be colder and witch's booby. See, my mom's watching this, and now I'm checking my language. But it's going to be cold. It's going to be. I mean, I don't know. You know, that could be a factor on a receiver, but I don't know, man. I honestly, though, I think that if KC wins, they have the best shot at taking out New England, and I hope that happens. I really do. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine this though? So KC takes out New England, and in the postseason league, you're playing either Alex Smith or Dak. I mean, of course you're going to play Dak, but that's a crazy, Alex Smith, you can't. Playing Alex Smith is like playing Brock Osweiler. And there were people that played Brock Osweiler this last week, and he got 20 points for him. And I was just like, what am I? Fantasy football, I mean, it doesn't matter what you know. It just doesn't. When you see somebody do that crap, it's just like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, and it panned out. It's just
it happened.
You officially have every other quarterback because you use Brock Osweiler,
and nobody else played.
You have a huge head up on everybody.
It's a contrarian play.
I mean, it's literally. I had Matt Moore ranked higher. I almost had Matt McGloin ranked higher than Brock Osweiler by one. Just barely. I had Brock Osweiler over Matt or Corey or Cook.
Corey, yeah. Well, to me, it's like this. Starting Brock Osweiler last week would have been the same as starting Lance Dunbar this week.
Yeah.
I mean, because
who's the backup, Escobar, or whoever our backup tight end is.
Let's see. So we got Zeke, we got DMC, we got Alfred Morris, and we got Dunbar. I think I'm gonna start Dunbar.
Yeah.
That's what that was like. I mean, dude, I'd have started Matt Moore.
Oh my god! I mean, oh my god! That was the craziest thing I've ever seen anyone do. But having said that, do you play? I mean, here's one of the options that you're not going to have again will be D-Hop. And he had a great game.
That was if I really thought that Pittsburgh was going to beat Kansas City, I'd play Hopkins.
Because then you'd have Antonio Brown.
Because then I'd have Antonio Brown and Julio next week. I'd start Antonio Brown.
But why not start D-Hop over Dez? I mean, the matchup is great.
Well, I just keep Dez for later in the Super Bowl or something. I mean,
but why don't you just use D-Hop there and then keep Antonio Brown and Devontae Adams? That's what I'm actually considering.
Well, I mean...
That's why I brought it up. It's because I'm actually considering.
Because I think Tyreek Hill is... This week is one of those players that you can play. You can use him. They're potentially going to lose.
Plus, you get with him in the postseason league, you get the 100th of a point. I figured out that's how you say that. You get 5 100ths of a point per yard on
and then returns, the kick return, and then he gets the 100th for the kick return, right? And then he could score TD. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so I can start him this week.
But he's the same threat for the rest of the way out, and like I said, I feel like they're going to win.
No, I totally agree. When I put it together, I said, you know what, I'm keeping Dez. Because I think Dez against Atlanta is going to be. But I could also see Dez having a little vendetta against Green Bay because of that crap last year or a couple years ago, and really go off. So, I when I originally did it, I had Dez and AB, and then I took them out, and I was like, I got to get Tyreek Hill in there. They may lose, and AB, and then I was like, and then that leaves me Dez later. So I mean, I don't know.
Because Dez against Green Bay is going to be just as beautiful as Dez against Atlanta.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same, but I think Dallas is going to win.
We're counting Seattle out.
Seattle ain't winning.
Seattle ain't winning.
They're garbage on the road.
Seattle is not winning that football game.
No, but I like Thomas Rawls.
No, yeah, I get you.
I like Rawls.
Atlanta defense is horrible.
I like Rawls. And what about that other receiver that's been catching Richardson?
Paul Richardson?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a DFS play.
Dude, I know, but man, he's been going ballistic.
He got 10 points. It's not ballistic.
Yeah, but for a Seattle wide receiver, if you get anything over ballistic. 4, you're ballistic.
It's not ballistic.
He's been going ballistic.
It was a great catch.
Dude, one-handed all up
in
his face.
It was a great catch. But dude, it was just one. It was one touchdown catch and then like 30 yards after that.
Should have been a touchdown catch. It should have been a...
Oh, yeah, a face mask. No, I get it. But anyway, so there you have it. You basically have both of our lineups if you're playing against us in that. Because just like last week, we had 2 different players last week. And here's what our score was. 160.4 to 160.2. That was the difference.
Yeah, we had
our linebackers were different.
We're just a little different. Yeah, because you got
and our quarterbacks were different, but it ended up just
pretty.
Because you had Russell Wilson, I had Big Ben.
No, I played Ben.
Oh, you did?
The big deal was that you played
I had
AB.
Antonio Brown. Yeah,
you played AB, and I played.
But you played Dougie B.
Yeah, but I played Baldwin.
Yeah,
I didn't play Hopkins.
You played Dougie B, and that was the difference.
Yeah, I played Dougie B. And you played AB. And so they had a little bit of the difference. And then you played... Who'd you play? Did you play Shazier? Who'd you play at linebacker last week? Because I played Bobby.
Yeah, Takir or Whitehead.
Yeah, you played Whitehead. And they were like right neck to neck, too. But, yeah, we
both played Collins.
Yeah, we both played Collins. That was the only play last week.
Yeah, it was it.
And Keanu Neal's going to be a good play this week.
It's the only play.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, we appreciate y'all joining us, and I know that this is just, this was more about real football than it was fantasy.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Well, we don't do that much. I mean, we always talk about football, but talking about outcomes and I mean, we still focus on individual players, but
no doubt,
that's a lot of fun. So
no doubt, go Cowboys!
Go Cowboys! If anything crazy happens, we'll have an update.
I hope they play Romo.
I think we're going to get a lot of people.
Dude, we went for 2 hours.
Yeah, it was fun, too.
222 views.
Dude, my phone was on 40% battery the whole time, just hanging on. It was 200 and something views?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Because we never have that out of the gate.
Holly said, good job, baby. 200 views. 222.
That was fun talking about all that. That was a lot of good information, dude. That was solid for not really even talking about fantasy football.
Yeah, we hit a little bit, but it was really, like you said, more about football.
We just talked about, free agents, the draft class, and then our top 25, that was the most that we talked about fantasy. But, we talked about that postseason league, which is so much fun to talk about that. That's totally different because the strategy is so much bigger than everything else.